A few years ago, all the retro pony cars seemed to have come back, and everybody was in love with the 70s again. Let's see if that decade lives as well as it reads. As we drive the 2013 Challenger SRT8337 Hemi, the big boy, and check the tech. Now, to my eye, the Challenger is perhaps the nicest looking of the retro pony cars from almost every angle, until you swing around the rear. Then it gets about as big and tall and thick as a building in the middle of the plains. I don't know what happened back there. Now, an SRT8 means several specific things. Most importantly, a 6.4 Hemi, not a 5.7, as if that's not enough. Adaptive suspension on all four corners, limited slip in the rear, launch control, 20s underneath those big wide tires, a unique interior, and of course a little different body trim. Now inside, I find the Challenger to be one of the less attractive of the cars in its class. This is a lot of cheap plastic and acres of it with not a lot of distinguishing detail. SRT8s have this special kind of velour interior with this kind of leather bolstering. The red is not necessary, you can change up the color scheme. And the gauges to me are pretty damn ugly with that silver and red and blue and all these busy little patterns that say race car. Let's get to the tech though. We have the upgraded head unit. This is called the 730N. It's the largest and most well-equipped of your options. 6.5-inch touchscreen, and I want to point out the touch response is outstanding. It is one of the quickest this side of a Hyundai Kia, which is my normal favorite for fast touch response. Now for sources, as you can see, you've got a hard drive here. I'm not normally big on that. For what it's worth, you have 20 gigabytes available to you. The other 20 are for the nav system. Optical disc lives up here, peekaboo style, behind the screen. We have satellite radio, of course, which powers our satellite traffic on the navigation system. Here's the main menu for nav. As you can see, this is the older system. This is not the big Uconnect that they're putting in the more recently revised Chrysler products that's been getting awards for the most easy-to-use navigation. It's Garmin stuff. The menuing is very clear. It's not a sexy interface by any stretch, but you know what? It works. Now you can also use voice command if you can figure it out. Here's a voice button, and here's a voice button. After a day with the car, I can't recall which one owns which functions. Between them, though, you can use voice to run the Bluetooth hands-free system, obviously, the navigation system, and call out certain functions of the entertainment system. Just keep pushing them both till you get the right one. Now, along with the 730N top head unit, you also have to go with a Harman Kardon audio upgrade. 2 subs in the doors, 2 subs in the back. 18 speakers, 900 watts. That is not all that unusual. What is that the audio amplification, the output side, is 32 volt. Remember, cars are 12 volt. They have been since cavemen were driving them. So what's happening here is they're moving toward a higher voltage that can allow you to achieve higher current levels, which is really important for low end in particular, and do so with the same wiring or even thinner wiring that weighs less and takes up less space. This is the only piece of technology in a car I've yet encountered with 32 volt. It's interesting. Another key part of the interface on this car are the hidden buttons. This is a big Chrysler thing. Back here, you've got a button and then a rocker above and below it, mostly for operating your media controls. Like over here is my volume, as well as 3 inches away, my volume. Not necessarily the most useful thing. No paddles here, of course. We have a manual. This is the 6-speed manual that is based on these cars. You can option up to an automatic when you would have paddles on the wheel. Don't do that. Okay, the heart of Big Dummy is this engine, the 6.4-liter Hemi, not the 5.7. This one makes that one look smallish. No blower, no turbo, no direct injection. It's just a big ol' high-displacement V8 with hemispherical combustion chambers. And Hemi, by the way, is a Chrysler trademark, though other cars have hemispherical combustion chambers. The numbers: 470 horsepower, 470 foot-pounds of torque. 0 to 60 for this 4,200-pound car, 4.8 or so, while getting you 1423 mpg. That's bad enough to earn you a $1,000 gas guzzler tax. The power always goes out on an SRT8 through that 6-speed manual with the pistol grip out to a limited slip rear end. You can get an automatic in a Hemi V8 Challenger, but you've got to drop this guy out of SRT class to the 5.7 Hemi, and then you can get your automatic, and it's only a 5-speed. The thing that impresses me first, and not in a good way, is the ride quality is horrendous. It's jouncy, it's kind of unrefined. It's not a pleasant car to drive, and I don't feel like it's a very good performance suspension because of all those unmanaged sort of dynamics that I'm getting. The exhaust note is nice. The clutch and transmission interaction are pretty good. You do not have any option for rear view camera. And I don't know if you can see, but there's some big old buttresses back there on those, one of those C-pillars, and they're pretty massive. I can't see a hell of a lot out of this vehicle, so I could use a backup camera. This performance features menu here is one that, again, if I was on a track, I could do something with, but it lets me set up trap times for quarter mile, eighth mile, 0 to 60. So lots of track tools in this car that, again, if you have access to a track and you do that kind of thing, you've got a real toolkit here to work with. Okay, let's price this top-of-the-stack Challenger SRT8 with the manual. It's the only way you can get the 6.4. Is going to run you about $44,700 or so with destination. Add into that $790 for that head unit, which, given the price, I would do. The $2,000 option is the Harman Kardon audio. If you like thump, it's got a ton of it. And the only other charge, not an option, it's standard, is the gas guzzler tax at $1,000. All in, we're somewhere around $48,500. Now, the Challenger has a role in the world. It's a somewhat unique pony car in this revival area of elephant motors. Take it as a dragster you can take to work, and it may fit the bill.